Alrighty, now it's time for my budget planning. So, as I had mentioned in an earlier video, this is my catch-all planner, and I'm going to have 1 month of budget in here, and I'm going to have 1 month of my craft room planner in here as well. I'm going to be frankenplanning for the month of December to decide whether or not I want to do that continuing into 2022. So, I do have an insert here for my budget. Kind of see it, but I'll bring it down. So this is going to be for the month of December. I have 5 weeks in here, and I'm going to go ahead and work on this. But because, budget, financial stuff is confidential, I'm not going to work on my own right now on video. I'm going to do an example on some scrap paper so that you can see what my process is in case it inspires you to do the same. So I'm going to go ahead and put this away because this is my actual planner. And then I will recreate the actual real stuff off camera, but I will go ahead and show you what I would normally do. So this was normally my budget planner. All my months are in here, but like I said, I'm going to put that month into the catch-all, and then once that month is over, it's going to go back into here for safekeeping and for reference. So this is how I normally have it, and I have my checkbook in here and some notes, some return address labels, some bill stuff, and just stuff like that. And I have my months here, but like I said, I'm going to do it a little bit differently. So I'm not going to show you what's in here because, like I said, it's confidential, but this, trust me, this is my budget planner. And then I went ahead and I took out or printed this spread from Lights Planner Action. I love this doodle sheet. This is the first time I'm using it because I did switch. I usually use Planners Anonymous Luxe inserts, but I thought I would try Bess's out also to see how they work for me. So what I do is I have these clean color dot markers by Zig, and they are absolutely fantastic. They are so wonderful for color coding or creating a task list, or even writing, because these markers at the end, these kind of fine tip markers at the end, are just wonderful. I really love the way they write. So you'll see that there's a little bit of animal print washi on this because these are the 3 that I use very regular for my budget. And then I introduced this one later in the game, and I didn't mark it, but and I'll explain to you why I added this additional purple color. So what I do is in the beginning of the month, I'm going to stamp the month here on the outside of this printable. So that's how my month is going to start. And I'm going to go ahead and do that on camera now so you can see what I do. And I also wanted to share with you the type of stamp ink that I use so it doesn't bleed through to the other side, and just little tips and tricks just in case you need some help with stamping. Because I know stamping can be really intimidating and it can be really messy and really discouraging if you don't practice, have the right tools, and kind of know some tricks and tips. Okay, so I have a microfiber cloth here. This is what I use to clean my stamps. I clean them right after I use them and then put them back. So I'll have that off to the side. And I also have this Nuvo Light Mist bottle. It just has water in it. So I usually spray my microfiber cloth and then rub my stamp on it. So it's just water and a microfiber cloth. I use Versa Magic ink whenever I stamp in my planner. I use different inks for different things. When it comes to planning, this is the only ink that I'll use, Versa Magic, and it comes in all kinds of beautiful colors. Because this one, it does not bleed to the other side, where a lot of inks will. So especially dye inks. Anyway, and then I have some acrylic blocks. These are my favorite ones. These are by Gina K Designs. I love the way they feel in my hands. I love the contour of them. So some people are not picky about their acrylic block. I am. I love these. And I got rid of all the other ones that I had because I fell in love with these, and I just never reached for the other ones. It's always these. And then I have a couple of stamp sets that I'm going to be using. I have Lawn Fawn Plan On It calendar set. And then I have, I'm going to use this December set by Catherine Puller. Okay, and then I also brought out my stamp platform. Now, I normally use a Misty, but I am really liking this Tim Holtz platform as well. This is fairly new to me. I'm normally using the Misty, but I have it occupied right now with my Christmas card stamps, so it's kind of busy. So I can't use it today, but I also wanted to show you how you can stamp with your planner, in your planner, more accurately and more neat if you use a stamp platform rather than an acrylic block. So I'll go ahead and I'll use the platform for the month. So with a platform, what's really nice is you can put your planner page in here, right? And I'll go ahead and I'll secure it down with some magnets. You don't really need to, but I will. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my December stamp that I want to use on here, and I'm just going to take off the backing here. I'm going to grab this December. This is the one that I want to use. I'm going to use green ink because my planners are all decorated for Christmas, and so the budget one is going to be no exception. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp this in green ink. So I'm just eyeballing it here. I could use a ruler or T-square to get it super duper accurate, but this is good enough for me, to tell you the truth. So I'm going to go ahead and put my stamp like this, where I can read the stamp, and I'm going to take this top, and I'm just going to grab my stamp with it. As you can see, now my stamp is on, let me move some of this stuff. Now my stamp is on the door. And so what's good about this, and especially if you find stamping, you find that it doesn't come out neat enough, or you don't like it, or you mess up your pages and things like that. What's good about this is you can stamp, and if you missed a couple of spots, there's ink missing, you can re-stamp over and over in the exact same position when you use a stamp positioner tool. While when you're using the acrylic blocks, you can stamp it down, but it's not guaranteed that you're going to get in the exact same position if you have to stamp again. So that is the difference. And then the other difference is with an acrylic block, you can have just the natural human thing to rock your stamp, or to have a little more pressure on the bottom than the top. It's kind of tilted, or you just don't get even pressure because you're using a block and you're stamping it yourself. Where with a stamping platform, you get more even pressure. It's really nice. So if you do want to stamp in your planner, but you want it really, really super duper neat, then go ahead and invest in a platform like this or like the Misty. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ink up my stamp while it's on here. And you'll see that I don't need to ink it up too much because I have it on a platform. I know I can stamp it over and over. So I'm just going to go like this, and I'm going to press down here and then lift this up, and you'll see December is nicely stamped here. If I wanted it a little bit darker, then I could go in with some more ink. This is the luxury of using a platform. Okay, to get it a little more solid. And I can re-stamp it, and again, it stamps in the exact same place, and it has nice even pressure. And I can do that, and it's a little darker now. So let me show it to you. So it looks really, really nice and clean. So you can get clean stamping. I'm going to go ahead and use the acrylic block for the numbers that I'm going to stamp. But before I do that, I'm just misting my microfiber cloth with some water, just regular water, and I'm going to clean my stamp so I can put it away. I always do this right away. Now, if your ink stains your stamp, that does not mess it up, and it's still very, very good. It's just a well-loved stamp, so don't be alarmed if your ink stains your stamp like mine does. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back. I'm done with this. Okay. Now, the other thing that I think is important to know, with chalk ink, since it's a pigment ink, it does lay on top of the paper, which is why it doesn't bleed to the other side, but it does need to dry. So I do two things. If I'm in a hurry and I'm planning and I just want to hurry up and get it into my planner, I'll stamp. I'll take my embossing tool or my heat tool, and more often than none, it's the heat tool by Tim Holtz. And I will just dry it really quick. It'll take like less than a minute, and I'll dry it, and then it won't smudge and it won't do anything. Or if I know I'm going to be doing other things and still continuing to plan, then I just take this page and I set it aside while it dries on its own. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. even though I do need to stamp the other side. But and then I'm going to put this platform away for now because I don't need it. And then I'm going to grab my numbers because I do need to stamp my numbers on here. Okay, so again, I'm using this Lawn Fawn set. It's called Plan On It Calendar. Okay, so let's see. So let me look at my planner, figure out the dates. Just a second. Okay, so Monday and Tuesday are the 29th and the 30th. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use this small block, and I'm going to grab, what I like about these numbers is they're not, like I don't need a 1 and a 4 for the 14. I could just stamp 14. That's what I like about, when I'm thinking about calendar numbers and dating my planner, I like numbers that are together like this so I don't have to stamp so many times. So I'm going to go ahead and grab 29. Okay, I'm just going to set it on my stamp block like this. Grab this. I'm just going to put a little bit of ink. I gotta make sure I have it the right way. Okay, so I don't have 29 because it's on the other one. Darn it. I'm letting that dry, so I'm not gonna do this one. I'm gonna start with Thursday. So Thursday's date is the 2nd. Okay, so sorry about that, but I am gonna need that. So I'll go ahead and grab the number 2. And sometimes I will grab the number 2 like this, put it down like this, and then I'll grab number 3 and I'll put it on the other side just so I could be ready. Okay, so like that. Okay, so I have number 2. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of ink on it, and I'm just going to put it right here like that. And then I have 3, okay, and then I'm going to wipe it off. Now, if I wanted it like all in a line, I would use my stamp positioning tool, but I don't need it for this. It's just a quick dating. You could also use date dots. You don't have to do stamps. Okay, 3, and then I'm going to do 4, 5, and 6, or 4 and 5. Okay. Do the same thing. Just put it one on one side and one on the other side of the block so I can stamp fairly quickly. All right, so here's 4 and 5. Perfect. All right. Okay. I'll put these back. These little guys. I love stamping in my planner. I love using stickers, you know, these clean color dots, just all kinds of stuff to make it fun and to be creative. Okay, so I'm gonna need this 29 and I'm gonna need the 30 also. And I kind of want to do that really quick. So let me go ahead and take this, put that aside. So this one is 29, and then this one is 30. All right, so 29. Wait, oh yeah, and I need 1. 29, 30, and then I need 1. Let me clean these. All right. And here's 1. All right, perfect. So it's nice and dated. You know, nothing too fancy. This is just my budget planner. I like to go to town on my catch-all, but the budget one, it's not really that necessary. Sometimes I'll even go in and just write the numbers in. So it just depends. Okay, so this is 29, 30. All right, so I'm done stamping. I especially like to stamp the month. That's what I really, really like to stamp. So that one I do, but the numbering, sometimes I'll do it and sometimes I won't. Okay, so now I have my spread here. And I noticed that December is ghosting through, and that's because I stamped it twice. If you don't saturate it with a lot of ink, it's not going to bleed through. Like you can see here, you know, the numbers didn't bleed through. That's because I just stamped them once and I stamped them lightly. But this one I stamped twice, but still doesn't bother me. It's not too much ghosting, but there is ghosting. I wanted to make sure to make that clear. Okay, so now I'm done with my stamping. I can move all that stuff out of the way. And now it's time to work on my budget. So the way I do it is this. I don't overcomplicate things, okay? So nothing against anyone who does budget differently. I just need it very simple in order for me to stick with it, to do it every month, and to be able to follow along. So I don't record all of my transactions and budget in that way. The way I do it is, here in my household, my husband gets paid once a month, and then I'm the one who pays all the bills. So, you know, we just have a deposit once a month. And then what I need to make sure, what my responsibility is that all the bills get paid and that there's enough money in the bank to cover those payments, all the bills. Okay, so that's not like groceries, Amazon purchases, you know, when we go to the movies and kind of things like that. Those just come out of my husband's pocket. Those are just cash items, right? But we do have regular recurring auto transactions that just get pulled out of our bank every single month. And then I have some transactions that I have to do manually. Either they don't have online bill pay, or for whatever reason it requires my attention every month, where all the auto pays really don't require my attention, but I do want to record them here. And again, the purpose is to make sure that I have enough money in the bank to cover those bills for that week. So I have two separate checking accounts. I have one for the household, which is all of this budget information that ends up in here. That's that one checking account. And then I have a separate regular checking for my just kind of spending, you know, have my nails done or go out to eat, or Amazon, you know, things like that. Things that aren't expected every month, but money that I can spend if there's money in that regular checking. So I don't touch the bill pay money, and I do spend the regular checking money. So I keep them separate for a reason, just so I don't touch it and I don't mess things up. So my purple marker, what I use this for is for any automatic transactions, any auto bill pays. Okay, so if I have signed up for bill pay, let's say, for example, on the 1st, it's my mortgage. So I put a dot there. I write mortgage. Okay, and then I write the amount. Let's say it's $1,600. We'll say we live in California. Okay, and then say on Friday the 3rd, we'll say we have 3 different bill pays, and we have Spectrum, and then we have AT&T for our cell phone, mobile. And then let's say we have the gas company. So these numbers, they fluctuate, right, every month. Well, Spectrum stays the same. Sometimes AT&T Mobile fluctuates, and the gas company definitely fluctuates. So let's say the gas company is $30.63. The mobile is $150, and then the Spectrum is $95. We'll just say, okay. So I make sure to get those numbers off the website when I'm doing the budget. Okay, and then we'll say that on the 30th, I have my Planners Anonymous subscription that always gets charged on the last day of the month. Now this I have worked into my budget. This is the same amount that gets taken out every single month, so I've worked it into my budget, even though it's a planner expense. Okay, so I'll put Planners Anonymous. And it's approximately, because you have to consider the exchange rate, it's approximately, let's just say $30 a month, okay? So I did that. So I know that whenever I see purple, those are automatic things that happen that I don't need to do anything manually. It's gonna happen. So I need to make sure the money's in the bank. And then blue is for anything that I have to pay manually. So I only have like, I think 3 items in the whole month that I have to pay manually. So if I have a blue item, let's say on the 1st, I have to pay storage for a motorcycle. Okay, so we'll say storage. I'll say storage stop, because that's what it's called, for example. And then I'll say $98, okay? And then my son, he contributes, and a lot of this stuff is real stuff actually, except for these numbers. Some of these numbers aren't real. Okay, but anyway, so on every Friday, my son gets paid and he has to contribute. He's an adult now, so he contributes to his insurance, his cell phone, and I think an iPad and some stuff that he bought on his parents' account, my account. But he contributes to it every week. And so that is a deposit that I'm expecting from him. That's income that I expect from him every Friday. So what I'll do is I'll put a green dot for income, and then I'll say Anthony. That's his name. 9125. Okay? And then I'll go on, and you know what? This really does get pretty filled up, because there's always something going on when it comes to bills every single day of the week, every single day of the month. So, and you know, there's sometimes things that land on the weekend too, because it's every 5th or whatever it is, but this ends up getting filled up. But I can see at a glance what my automatic transactions are, what my manual transactions are, and what my income that I need to make sure I collect from my son is. So this other purple pen that I just recently introduced is, I wanted to keep track of my afterpays and like my affirms and Klarnas and stuff, because they started getting out of hand. And even though the expense is expected every month because I'm on a plan, I wanted to be able to visually see what was Klarna and kind of those installment plans when you're shopping online. I wanted to actually see them. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to do those in purple. So then, for example, I would say, okay, every 5th, and I will write here Afterpay, and I'll put like Simply Gilded, right? And I'll say 3647, whatever it is, right? And so that darker purple, even though I know it's going to come out automatically, just like the other purples, but at least I know that's a like shopping expense that really doesn't need to happen. If I just control myself and just pay out of the regular checking account in full, if I want to shop, then it won't make it here to the budget planner. And I'm trying to do that. I don't have a lot of afterpays and stuff, because I'm like, no, you just pay cash for them. You pay for them out of the regular checking. And it's so funny because I could really do it the afterpay way, considering our situation here, but I just don't like, number one, having to manage all of that every month. You know, write it down, make sure there's money. No, just buy it and pay for it is my thing, right? That's what I'm trying to do now. But anyway, that's why I had introduced this. Okay, so then what I'll do is, once all my entries are in, say all my entries are in for the next 5 weeks of December, then what I'll do is I will add everything up, with the exception of anything that's green, because that's income. So I'll add it all up, and say this came out to, I don't know what it's going to come out to, but let's just say it came out to $2,800. Then In notes, I will put in my pen 28, let's just say 28, 65, 30. Okay, that's what I need to make sure is in the household account that week in order for everything to go smoothly. Okay, so then when I go into the next week, and we're talking real time and say we're in the next week, then what I do with these dots is as these things clear the bank, I will check them off. Okay, so if Anthony doesn't deposit that money in my account for whatever reason, it gets paid late, whatever the reason is, I don't check this off until he's paid it. And that's how I know whether he's done it or not. Because what will happen is for some reason, and you know, sometimes it happens, oh, Mom, you know, can I double up my payment next week instead of you taking it out this week for whatever reason? I will say, yeah, no problem. And so I will not mark it as paid for this week. And then the following week, I'll enter it twice. So I'll have one check mark for that current week and then one check mark for the previous week that he owes on. So that's how I keep track of that. Otherwise, I would be lost. I wouldn't know whether he paid me or not. I have to check the bank and all this stuff. And so this way I know whether or not he's paid it or not, just as an example. Okay, so the other thing is I wanted to mention, so this storage stop, this is a check I have to write, and it's so ridiculous. But anyway, I mean, who takes checks now? But I have to write a check. So I make sure and I do that at the beginning of the month, and I put a postage on it and send it out. And then here, what I plan to do is, say, for example, I called Spectrum Cable, and I spoke to them, and I downgraded something. Maybe I took off some premium channels and I downgraded. So then what I'll do is I'll write, okay, on Monday the 29th, so 11/29, called Spectrum, downgraded, new bill will be, and we'll just say it was $95, and then we'll just say it's $70 per month. And I'll write, you know, starting January, for example. Okay, so I'll write any notes, any changes to our budget and what's going on. I'll make notes of it the week that it happens or the week that I found out. Okay, and then say, for example, I planned for this week, and then I have this number down here, and I forgot an entry. Or the amount doesn't come in until later in the month. So even though I plan the last week of the previous month for the next month, if I don't have all the amounts, sometimes I'll know a bill's coming through, but I don't know the exact amount yet because it hasn't been billed or invoiced. Then when I do get the actual amount, then I'll come back in here, and let's just say it's an automatic payment. Say this is all done. This is what all of these equal. Then I will come in here and I'll say, oh, okay. So now on the 4th, there's going to be an auto pay, and it's the electricity, and it's $120, for example. Then what I'll do is here, I'll just put $120. And then I'll put electric. And then I'll have a new total. And I'll just keep a running total for anything I'm having to add or subtract from this list because I have this balance here and I need to adjust it. And then that's it. It's like nice and simple, at least in my opinion. You know, automatic transactions, some income coming in so I can keep my son accountable, things that require my attention. So anything that's in blue makes its way to my catch-all planner, because that's the planner I always have open. So anything that's in blue within this month of December, I am also going to transfer and jot down in my catch-all planner to make sure that those manual transactions get my attention on or before the day that it needs to be paid. So that's another really important thing. Everything else can just stay in here in the budget planner, but except for blue. Blue has to be put into my catch-all. And that's all. That's how I do it. And then I just file it away in case I need to reference, you know, costs from the previous months, or in case I need to see any notes or anything like that. That's how I do it. It's nice and simple. It doesn't take too long. I just do it all in advance for the month. And what I do is I just take the previous month lay it down right here, and I just copy everything down according to the date, not the day, but the date that those transactions come through. It's really easy. I just do it, and then say, for example, this is a previous month and I'm working on a new one, so I'm going to use this as a copy, and I start a new one down here. Then I know, okay, say I'm working on January here, I know spectrum is no longer 95 because I've written down that it's now 70. Okay, so I always take the previous month and copy from it to transfer into the current month that I'm planning for. All right, so I hope that helps you guys. Again, these are clean color dots by Zig, and what's also really cool about these is you can control the dot size, so you can do like little dots like that, or you can press harder and do larger dots, and it's just really fun. So I also do this sometimes in my planner with my to-do lists. I'll go ahead and make a list, that way I can check things off, because I like to be able to see these dots and be able to check them off. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, just let me know below, and I am happy to help. So that is the way I do my budget planner. I don't decorate or use any stickers or anything like that. I just use the clean color dots by Zig. All right, we'll talk to you soon.